Hey developers, welcome to Devcovery. Today, we're bringing you the hottest open source projects trending on GitHub, so you don't miss any tech developments worth your attention.
Today, we're taking a deep dive into a trending project on GitHub, olmocr, a toolkit that tackles the massive challenge of feeding complex PDFs to large language models. It transforms messy document layouts into clean, sequential text, unlocking a treasure trove of data for training the next generation of AI. Imagine if the world's largest library of knowledge, all of it locked away in trillions of pages of PDF documents, could finally be unlocked for AI. We're not just talking about reading text. This is about understanding complex academic papers, dense financial reports, and entire historical archives at a massive scale. A new project is offering a fascinating solution. That project is called olmocr, and it comes from the Allen Institute for AI. At its core, olmocr is a specialized toolkit. It's built to take image-based documents like PDFs and turn them into clean, organized text that's perfect for training large language models. And it's clear this has hit a nerve. The open-source Python project is showing some serious traction on GitHub, with over 18,000 stars. In fact, more than 300 of those stars were added in just one day. And with over 1,500 forks, it's obvious the community is actively getting involved. So, what's the core problem olmocr is built to solve? It's the messy, frustrating reality of document conversion. Standard tools for optical character recognition, or OCR, are good at extracting words, but they often fall apart with complex layouts. Think about multi-column articles, tables, scientific equations, or even simple footnotes. These things can completely break the logical reading order. The result is just jumbled text, which is completely useless for training an AI model. In the past, developers had to chain together a bunch of different tools for layout analysis and text extraction. This was a brittle and often inaccurate process, but olmocr's unique angle is to throw that piecemeal approach out the window. Instead, it uses a single, powerful vision model that understands the document's entire structure all at once. Diving into the tech, it's important to understand that olmocr is not a traditional OCR engine. At its heart, it's a massive 7 billion parameter visual language model, or VLM. So, instead of analyzing a document in separate stages, it processes the entire page image at once and directly generates clean markdown text. The best way to think about it is less like a scanner, and more like a human researcher who can look at a page, understand its layout, and then type out the contents in a logical sequence. This powerful end-to-end approach is made possible by some advanced training techniques. The model is refined using both supervised fine-tuning, known as SFT, and reinforcement learning, or RL. And the reinforcement learning part is especially clever. The project uses a strategy it calls unit test rewards. Basically, the model gets rewarded for getting structural elements right. For example, it gets a reward for correctly identifying the number of rows in a table, or for successfully removing headers and footers. This method ensures the output has both character accuracy and, just as importantly, structural integrity. And what about scale? The architecture is built for it. It uses the high-performance VLLM inference engine and supports a distributed pipeline that runs on AWS S3. This design allows it to process millions of pages efficiently. So, who is this for in the real world? The primary users are AI researchers and data scientists. These are the people who need to build massive, high-quality text datasets from sources like academic papers or digitized books. It's also becoming critical for companies building internal knowledge systems. They often use a technique called RAG, which stands for Retrieval Augmented Generation. With olmocr, these companies can pre-process their entire library of PDF manuals and reports, turning them into a clean, searchable format. But here's a heads up. Getting started requires some real technical expertise. A local deployment demands a high-end NVIDIA GPU and involves a complex setup process. To make things a bit easier, the project does offer a Docker image to help with some of that pain. Looking at the community feedback, the response has been largely positive. Developers are praising its superior performance, especially on complex documents. They also love that it's a fully open-source pipeline that can be run locally. That level of control is a huge advantage for any privacy-sensitive work. On the flip side, some users point out that there's a steep learning curve for deployment. They've also expressed a desire for more structured metadata output, not just the clean, linearized text. But despite its power, olmocr isn't without its challenges. Let's take a more critical look. First, there's the high hardware barrier. Running this model locally is definitely not for the average user. Second, just like all large models, it's not immune to hallucinations. It can sometimes produce incorrect output, especially on highly unusual layouts or even on blank pages. And finally, there's the dependency maze. Its complex web of dependencies on specific versions of CUDA and Python libraries creates a major maintenance headache. For new users, this means a high risk of frustrating installation issues. In the end, olmocr represents a strategic shift in document intelligence. It's a move beyond simple text extraction and toward true document comprehension. The project provides a scalable, open-source blueprint for converting unstructured visual information into high-value data. And why does this matter? It matters because it unlocks a vast reservoir of human knowledge, making it available for the next wave of artificial intelligence.
That's all for today's Devcovery. We hope these GitHub trending projects spark some inspiration for your development work. You can find all the repos mentioned in the description below. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to subscribe to our channel. See you tomorrow at the same time.